This, the breaking and forming of new bonds, is what rearranges matter. I'm Heather Grzych, and this is the Wisdom of the Body podcast. This podcast explores the idea of body intelligence as the real key to learning the knowledge of life, or what we call Ayurveda in the ancient language of Sanskrit. We do that by connecting with today's creative leaders and experts who will help you listen to your body, trust your gut, and live in deeper harmony with nature. Come join me as we unlock the golden door to clear, direct perception and become very deep listeners. You can find the Wisdom of the Body podcast on Apple, Spotify, and Stitcher. You can also follow us by joining my email at heathergrzych.com or on Instagram at heathergrzych. I know you're going to love this podcast, so take a second right now to subscribe. As the fall equinox is here for half of the earth, it's time to pause and reflect on what this time of nature's yearly rhythm means. Fall is the annual time of destruction. So each year, when that time comes around, I wonder what will die. Once it was some fat on my belly. Another time, the length of my hair. Once the extra furniture in the storage area, the items I've carried with me from apartment to apartment over the last 20 years that have been neither used nor viewed for quite some time. They say spring is the time of cleaning. Maybe we need it more in the spring because we've fattened ourselves all winter on whatever we can get some sense of pleasure from when the sun has cozied up with that other hemisphere. But in fall, there is already a cleanse happening. A wind of volatility and destruction naturally blowing through. So if you've got something to give, then give it. Throw it right into that wind as it passes and watch it blow away. But don't give too much, just enough so that your body is still cared for, still tolerant and strong, juicy and energized. After all, you still have work to do. Give up just enough so that your eye can meet the subtle glow of the sunrise in the morning without rushing into the day. Give up commitments. Give up objects. Give up relationships. It'll happen anyway. And maybe you can do an advanced move and actually choose your destructions. You are the curator of this exhibit in the museum called My Life. But before you let go of it, whatever the it of your choosing is, thank it. With the death of anything, we realize how much we've been attached to it. It was all part of the last iteration, and that has physical, tangible implications. Give it a good cry as you let go of it. Perhaps allow it to sicken you and be vomited out of your being. Become that hollow reed that Rumi said could become a lute and create music. Let us be clear about what destruction really is. First, you are not going anywhere. Don't be afraid of that. Destruction is merely change. This is beneficial if you've been carrying too much stuff around with you or are stuck in a rut. The molecules become disentangled, and the atoms that were part of that particular bonded cluster become free again. Very handy if there's a tumor to destroy or a burden you've been carrying. Just as destruction is handy if the entrance to your storage area in your basement is blocked by too many unused items of the past lurking inside. What is health if not being in the present moment on all levels of being? As long as we cling to the past, we hold purposeless energy and physicality in place for absolutely no reason. And as a result, we let health slip us by, a missed opportunity for what really is, favored over what was. Contemplate this word disintegration. Disintegration, the loss of unity. Maybe that sounds scary, But it doesn't have to mean it's the end of all future integration. There could be a future with new bonds formed, handy if there's some new need or new desire to be met. Forming bonds definitely takes energy, but that happens through chemical reaction, and each bonded component is changed on the other side of the event, never to be or to look the same again. Transformations are not necessarily easy to tolerate. So after you clean out your trash and your decaying leaves in the fall, it's better to wait a second to strengthen up. This is why healing should not be rushed. We are often vulnerable when our bonds have been broken, even when they were holding us back. Carl Sagan said, "The beauty of a living thing is not the atoms that go into it, but the way those atoms are put together." Did you know that the word atom comes from the Sanskrit word atma, which means soul or spiritual essence? Sanskrit is a very old language. It was around 5,000 years ago. How did people from a time in history with no microscopes know what was going on at such a subtle level? And what would it take to be a person who could detect what goes on in those subtle realms? What are the sense organs that detect this? Where in the awareness does this capability live? Could you possibly develop this inner sense too, just like the people who knew there was a spiritual essence even without some complicated scientific instrument to help find it? This, the breaking and forming of new bonds, is what rearranges matter. But if we cling to the past too tightly for our present functional purpose, we will shorten our futures. So being directly connected with now, with time, in time, directly connected through your senses. Don't believe what your mind convinces you is truth. Truth is fleeting. The world is always changing. We are always changing. And while I may have started this whole soliloquy focusing on how fall is all about destruction, the coexisting reality is that it is also about creation, an opportunity for new molecular arrangements. Destruction happens and new bonds form in the precise spots where nature puts the pressure on and where desire drives us to. Convergence and divergence happening simultaneously. This is why both destruction and creation require surrender. There is only so much we can control on our own. Have intention, yes. Pay consistent attention, yes. Even the surfer has to do some hard paddling to get out there, and if lined up in the right position at the right time, gets to ride the wave, balancing and marveling at it during the whole process. So marvel in the fall. Marvel in wonder and awe. Fall is the time of reduced outside light, but soon you will actually see the inner light's might. Sounds like the perfect time to go inward and meditate. Pick up your pen and write, and make it a date. You will discover what's really there in all of your clinging, though you may let go of it if you find yourself singing, of the ways in which nature changes eternally, that its rhythms actually shift diurnally. And when you are lost in the moment, there is no desire to wish for or lament, an equinox inside, and you its bride, quietly reading the tide. You know, I get so excited. I get this kind of goosebump feeling when I get a booking from a new client that I haven't met yet. And I get so excited because I know that somebody has made a decision to go really, really, really deep into their healing. Because I know that Ayurveda is not a quote unquote normal thing that many people have access to, at least not in the United States where I live. So I know that when someone books with me, that they've really made a decision that they want to go deep into their healing. And so you could do that on my website at heathergrzych.com. That's Heather, GRZYCH.com. You can book me for either a Ayurvedic consultation if you're ready to dive in, or you can also book me for a 15-minute connection call if you're not sure where to go yet. I do have a couple offerings that are not on my website, and we could talk about that. So I look forward to meeting you. Thank you for tuning in and dropping in with us today. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. I really want to hear your feedback. To learn more about my work, visit heathergrzych.com. That's Heather, GRZYCH.com. And meet me here next time on The Wisdom of the Body.